From Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 123. I am Jeff Halash. This is our live call-in show for computer repair techs. The call-in number is 1-888-697-0162. Let me introduce the co-hosts. We have Chris Carruthers from the Remote Support Tech Team. How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good, Jeff. How are you?
I am doing excellent. It's a great day to be in technology.
Oh, yeah, it's a great day to be inside in technology. There's snowing earlier.
Well, it did cool down a little bit for us here, too. So, with that being said, let's go to our next guest who's not freezing right now, and that is Ian Alexander from Repair Tech. How you doing, Ian?
Good, thanks for having me.
And I'm sorry, where are you at in California?
I'm in San Jose. I apologize for my lack of snow.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in, Jeff.
Well, Chris, I know you're a little farther north than me, so you know what, though? We just got to get through this weekend, and it looks like it's going to warm up here in the next few weeks. So I think we'll be all set. Oh, so anyways, this is our live call-in show for computer repair techs, and I've already given you the 1-800 number, and it's on my lower third. If you guys want to call in and chat with us, just call that number. All right, Chris, what types of things have you been working on in your business?
Absolutely nothing.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, I don't actually work here, Jeff. You know what? We're still settling into the new office, so we're not taking on big projects right now. Still had lots of virus removals. We still haven't run into that new crypto wall, but I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. It's been a pretty dull week over here with just nice routine calls.
Well, that's not too bad. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything that's I'm just normal virus removals, nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing super complicated. We have one client that has been calling in with an intermittent problem that we've been troubleshooting, over the last week. But other than that, nothing's really had any serious. Yeah, I don't have any cool stories for you, Jeff. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, what was the intermittent problem?
It's the intermittent problem. The end user thinks that it's a problem with their printing, but it's actually a problem with their wireless.
Oh, are we going back to the wireless printing thing again?
I'm not going back to it, but I'm sure that there are a lot of people who do. Our printer has a hardline run to it. Just saying.
I'll be honest with you. I do have a Epson Workforce Pro, and my wireless printing, it is only wireless right now, and on my network, it works perfectly fine. But I've been in many businesses where that is just not the case, and you absolutely need to have that hardwire. So definitely understand that.
The problem is that a lot of the AirPrint printers, if you want to have the AirPrint active, it has to be on Wi-Fi for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't know the reason behind it. I'm sure that Apple has some reason to give us that doesn't make any sense, but that's usually now the people that we can't say, hey, just plug it in. It's because they have an iPad or an iPhone that they want to print from.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, let's be honest, that still sucks trying to print from tablets and whatnot. So.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it doesn't work right, but it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, sounds good. And Ian, what types of things are you working on in your business? And if you want to tell us about anything that you guys are working on, yeah, feel free. You've got the floor.
A lot of stuff, same as usual. Just working on the products and adding more features. Right now, we're really focused on stability and improving our ability to test and. When customers have feature requests or issues or anything, we're adding a lot of things in place so that they can give us information quicker so that we can resolve issues quicker. But one exciting thing we're working on is we have a new product that's coming out. We announced it a couple weeks ago called Project Kabuto. So that is going to be really interesting. It's basically a application that you install on your client's computer after they come into your shop. And it's a little widget that goes on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and it pops up whenever the client has issues after they leave your shop. So it can detect like 7 or 8 different things, such as a failing hard drive, or maybe their disk capacity is full, or they're having issues installing Windows updates, or something like that. And it'll pop up a little dialogue at that point when they encounter an issue with your logo and your address and phone number and everything. and it'll say, hey, we noticed you encountered an issue. You should request service from your repair shop. And then they can click that. You get an additional job. You get notified, and then you can call them on the phone. And so it's a way for shops to increase customer loyalty and get jobs they wouldn't have otherwise because the client may not have known that their hard drive was failing. And then it's also something that you can start to resell as part of your managed service package. So pretty excited about that, and that'll hopefully be actually launched in April.
Oh, very cool. Sounds good. Very cool. So yeah, so it gives that the customer or the I guess the shop recognition to the customer on a consistent basis, and when they have a problem, and like I said before, when we've talked about this, is that what I like about it is that your customer a lot of times will deal with problems for months and months and months, and a lot of times it's either it's not a thought or they didn't really think of it or take the time to go, you know what, let me call somebody and have this fixed. But once you have that on there, it kind of gives them that little alert and says, hey, why don't you call your repair guy or gal and, you know, have them come fix the problem for you.
Right, and the point is that it's not going to be something that's annoying to them. It's not going to pop up unless they have an issue. And I think a lot of cases, in a lot of cases, you'd see a customer, or in a better way to define it is a consumer that would see some issue like a blue screen and just restart and think nothing of it, and then not actually get help about it, and it persists for a long time. And so this is kind of a nice way of saying, hey, this is actually a problem, and you should probably call somebody about it.
Right. Yeah, because there's the reason Windows has those alerts in there is to let you know that there's a problem.
Right.
But if the consumer just bypasses it and says, you know, I'll wait until my Internet Explorer is not working until I call my technician.
Look, I do not have a virus on my computer until I can't play Facebook games, Jeff.
There you go. Oh, that's funny. Wow. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it sounds like a real cool project. So you think in April timeframe have that launched?
Yeah, we're already developing it right now, and a lot of the functionality is already there. So we are going to hopefully have a testable version around the end of this month, and then we want to get it in place with a couple of our favorite customers, and then we will test it out in those environments, and then we'll release it to the public.
Very cool. And for a lot of those that maybe have not paid attention or not listened to some of the other shows, I just want to let you guys know that Ian is a repair technician, you know, through and through. That's where he started. He started doing a lot of, you know, he had his own computer repair shop. He was, you know, working and doing all that kind of stuff. So he definitely knows his stuff. We don't just bring him on here to, you know, talk about his products and stuff like that. But, you know, he has the chops, and because he's been in the field, he knows the things that are needed out there. And that's what I really like about a lot of these businesses is when you can have somebody that actually knows the computer repair field and that can build a product that's helped them and hopefully will help other people. So, all right. With all that being said, let's move into some emails, and we'll see if we can answer some questions here.
Yay.
All right. First email is, it says, hey, Jeff, Chris, and everyone else. First of all, you guys rock. Not knowing where to start looking for advice on beginning a business in PC repair, I've been listening to your advice and podcast nonstop for the past week. My friend is a graduate with a business major, and I have a BS in network security and general computer science. I and my associate are serious about starting a PC tune-up and virus removal service. We've seen the prices around our hometown, Des Moines, Iowa, and we believe we could offer our services in a unique and affordable way. We want to have an office and have even got a name and a logo picked out. Well, that's the start right there. We have some questions for you guys. My main concern coming back to the field is being new to the area. Would it be wrong to charge lower fees until we generate a base clientele? And yeah, we'll answer that in a second. Chris, you're not allowed to answer. Anyways, okay. Being that we don't have a lot of equipment or direction yet, what kind of services should we be providing? We are thinking about virus removals, PC tune-ups, and both hardware and software installations, data transfers, and consulting. Other than that, we're not sure what else we could be providing to people. I've heard you mention that you were looking for callers on the show. We were thinking about calling in on a Sunday some week to ask more specific questions. But I know you guys are strapped to about an hour and a half for showtime. Would there be a better option for asking some of these questions? No, pretty much the show is probably the best way. You know, obviously these emails. Thanks for your time and your show. You're answering a lot of concerns. We're very fortunate to have experienced guys leading the way and offering their tips. And he must be talking about Chris, because I just make this stuff up as I go. And it was Danny Harrington and Dan Franz. I hope I said his last name right. But thank you, Danny and Dan. So the first question was, being new to the area, would it be wrong to charge lower fees until we generate a base clientele? Go ahead, Chris.
No, you said I wasn't allowed to answer, Jeff.
Well, I was going to do the good cop, bad cop routine, you know. I was going to, you know, say, yeah, it's okay to do that, and I was going to have you come in and land-base them. But, you know, no, I've learned a lot in this business, and one of the things that I think now is, if I had to change anything, the number one thing that I would change is my pricing structure.
Mm-hmm.
I would have started being more expensive than when I originally started out. And the reason for that is, I understand what everybody's thoughts are, and they're like, well, I can only get customers if I charge X amount of dollars. But the reality is, you can get customers, but are those the right customers? And that's what you really have to ask yourself. What I would do is, you know, look at what other shops, legitimate shops, or you know, even people working out of their homes are legitimate shops. See what they're charging. You know, whether they're charging an hourly rate, whether they're charging, you know, a flat rate, and some do kind of a hybrid approach. But if you look at those two different things and kind of figure out, and stay right around that, where the people are at, you know, where that price point is at. Don't, you know, you could undercut a little bit, or, you know, if you're like Chris, you could even, you know, inflate it a little bit, you know, either way. But don't be so drastically different that what's going to happen is, if you charge cheap prices, you're going to figure out after a while it's not worth it to do it for those cheap prices, so you're going to move on to something else. Reality is, you have to be paid for your time and what you're worth, and you've got to figure that out, but usually it's by basing it around the area. All right, Chris, go ahead.
All right, so now that good cop's done. No, you know what? Take a look at the pricing structure that everybody else has, like Jeff said, and if you're going to take my opinion, which a lot of people seem to, because I'm not full of myself, keep in the top quarter, not the bottom quarter, keep in the top quarter or a little bit above it, because what you don't want is, you don't want cheap customers, and that's what it is. If you're in the lower part or below the lower part of what your competition is, you're going to get the cheap customers. Those are not the customers that are going to come in and pay you when you give them an invoice. Those are not the type of customers that are going to keep your doors open. It's going to be slow at first, and then when it picks up, you're going to wonder why you even doubted yourself. So, you want my opinion, top quarter of what everybody's doing in your area.
I agree. Ian, what do you have to say to that?
I agree. I think that there's something to be said for having an understanding of what types of customers you want and what the market is already catering to. So in your area, there might be a super expensive repair shop, and that's it. And you may understand that you can make a killing if you have the small and medium-sized businesses instead of just the large businesses. So it depends on the place you're in, but for the most part, from my perspective, I agree with Chris. You probably want to be able to focus on the customers that are going to generate the larger percentage of your revenue. They're just it's just worth more of your energy. And if you have to run around for $50 here and $75 there, you're not going to like that very much in the end. So,
yeah, no, good points. You know, a lot of people do not think that there are customers out there that will pay X amount of dollars, whatever that is, an hourly rate or even a fixed, you know, a higher fixed rate. The reality is, though, there are customers that will pay those types of prices everywhere. And it doesn't really, I mean, for the most part, it's just the way it is. And those are the types of customers. The customer I like is a customer that calls me on the phone and says, hey, I've got a problem. Can you fix it? Yes, I can. When can I bring it by, or when can you pick it up? the customers I don't, that I know that are just kicking the tires, and 50% of the time they're going to go on their way, is they go, well, how much is that going to be? And as soon as I say the price, well, can you do it for a little cheaper? Can I, if I bring a couple into you, can I get a better deal? And you're like, really? You called me for one computer fix problem, and then all of a sudden you got two, huh? How does that? And right there, that should be a red flag for those types of customers that you don't want. All right, hey, we got a call coming in. Let me answer this. Hello, welcome to Podnutz, the computer repair podcast. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Really enjoying the stream.
Oh, good. Do you have a question today?
Oh, yes. Recently, I've been having issues with my machine. It's been slowing down a lot, and I've been asking lots of people what to do. And I was going to take it to this computer repair shop, but they told me they'll repair it for about $150, which I found a bit overpriced for a little repair. They said it was a problem with my operating system. What's your opinion on that? And is it easy to do on your own?
That's a tricky question there, but go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so here's what it comes down to, and I mean absolutely no offense when I say this. If you are asking if it's an easy repair, you should have somebody do it. And if there's a problem with the operating system and it's running slow, you're probably also infected. $150 to get all of that fixed is a good price. So take it into that shop, have them fix it.
Okay.
That sounds good. All right, because people kept suggesting to me to download a antivirus like Avast or something like that and just clear up my machine. But the people are telling me it also won't work because some viruses can't be removed by these antiviruses because they're already installed. So everyone's telling me, lots of people are telling me it's $150 is a bit too much for that.
I would say the other thing you can do is you can definitely check around the area and see if there are other computer shops that are doing those types of things. What I would encourage you to not do is I probably wouldn't go to the cheapest person.
No.
And if you can find a range and kind of stay in the middle and where you're comfortable with. But I will tell you that a lot of times what a lot of people will do is they will download antiviruses after they're already infected, and that might clean up some of the problems. But the problem is the customers don't really know all the places to look and make sure that all those things all those viruses and things have gotten pulled out. And the problem is you really need to know where all that stuff is. So that's kind of what we do here. We take those and we make sure that they're clean when they get back to the customer and they're running correctly. We make sure that they have a working antivirus of some sort, whether it's paid for or something free like a Microsoft Security Essentials or something like that. There's different varying opinions, but different people want to pay only so much for certain things. So, but that's kind of where we stand. Ian, you got anything to add to that?
I agree with Chris. I mean,
yeah.
If you don't, it's worth. I guess this doesn't relate exactly, but it costs money to do good business. So if you want somebody to take care of your computer, you have to be willing to spend some money on it. And $150 to get a qualified person to look at your computer and get it working for you and ensure that you have a livelihood is frankly worth it. So
all right,
that sounds pretty much like that's all I needed. Thank you a lot for the help.
No problem. All right, well, you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for calling.
It's unfortunate, too, because I'm sitting here with an entire list of people in my head that will do that remotely, but I can't give up my customer list.
Well, hopefully he'll be able to, search around in the area. There's, there's many different ways to do that. Google searches and stuff like that, and or talk to other people. Really, if we talk about things like word of mouth, everybody knows somebody in some industry, right? So, as you're talking to people, hey, who did you have work on your computer the last time you had something wrong with it or something like that? And a lot of times you'll get good recommendations that way because either the customer was satisfied or they weren't.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good way to go about it. But Anyways, all right, so let's move on to the second portion of the question. It says, being that we don't have a lot of equipment or direction yet, what kind of services should we be providing? We're thinking about virus removals, PC tune-ups, hardware, software installations, data transfers, and consulting. Pretty much that list kind of covers everything, doesn't it? Or do you guys see something else in there that they could be providing specifically?
I mean, those are, to me, that's like the minimum. It's like the minimum viable product. You have to do all those things.
Right.
I would start with that, and then I would figure out what other specialty areas you can cater to. So, for example, you might want to focus on Microsoft Office, or you might want to focus on some other, cloud antivirus or whatever. Just figure out what you like, and then I would do something in that niche as well that differentiates you from the other repair shops in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. Do some market research into your area. Find out what the other shops are already offering, right? Because the less you have to compete with the other shops for whatever specialty you decide to go into, the better. Here in town, I'm the only IT company that has QuickBooks Pro Advisors at all. So that is a niche that if I chose to really push it, I could get a lot of business out of that, right? So you need to do the same thing. Take a look at what everybody else is offering. Do some research through your Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes it's the public library that keeps the business records, so that you can do some research there. But find out what your town needs. Because once you know that, you're going to be laughing, right? And if you don't know how to do whatever it is that your town needs, then find somebody who does. Outsource it, or bring somebody in, or whatever you need to do. But I agree. Start off with those basics, get yourself rolling, so that you know that you're continuing on.
We were talking about the different things that you should be offering in a business, and what I was going to say is a lot of times what you can do to actually basically go and call other businesses, and you can basically call them and say, you can mock, hey, I have a computer repair problem, whatever, legitimately, and just kind of see what they offer. Or, a lot of times these businesses have, price lists if you go into them on the wall or whatever, and you can see what types of things they're doing, whether it's, some are doing, mobile phone repair, and if you can't find something like that in your area, that might be an actual thing that you might be able to do, is like mobile phone repair, screen repair, stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely check out your market in the area and figure out what's going on with that. So, anything else on that, guys?
No, I think that about covered it.
Yeah, you got him pretty good.
All right. So the next email it says, "Hi Jeff, keep up the great work you guys do at Podnutz. You guys read my mind on talking about PC build quotes. It has happened a few times when someone that seems like they are ready to order PC emails me with a very specific request. They give me their budget, so I send them a proposed build sheet with the exact parts to never hear back. I feel if this continues, I am justified after Chris's response in charging a small amount, even if it's only $20 to weed out the tire kickers. Once my business license from my city arrives, I look forward to Google AdWords. I know it seems unwise to focus my business model on builds, but with just Craigslist alone, I will be starting my third customer build since January, and I am charging $300 labor. I am upfront with parts pricing, and the people that pay it really appreciate the customer service that they don't get at a big box store. I still do repairs and upgrades if asked. Since it's a side business at this moment, I can afford to focus on just builds. Although you might appreciate the heads up on the Google Remote Desktop is improving and something they're still developing. Apparently, it is now a standalone program that can handle multiple connections from what I read in this article. Later this evening, I can look forward to testing the new version out. It says I'll also be offering managed services on the builds I do. I'm still choosing the software I'll be using, but plan on including anywhere from 30 to 90 days of free managed service with any build I do on top of the 1-year labor warranty, which hopefully can help a stable flow of money over time. I, too, am a Bitdefender fan, by the way. Thanks, Anthony.
So actually, I want to make a comment on that because that was good. The custom builds and including the managed service plan in there. That's absolutely a really great way to go because A, it's going to keep people coming back to you, and B, it's going to help you with your warranty. Because if you're helping to keep that system clean, you're not going to wind up with the customer bringing the computer in because it's broken, and it's just because they were watching some videos. And that's something that I've done, is that the custom gaming systems that we build here all come with a 1-year managed service plan. And that the cost is factored into it. So yeah, anybody doing custom builds, I know that is not nearly as as common as it used to be. Throwing antivirus or managed service plan or something like that in there is going to help keep you rolling and keeping that customer back.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm kind of conflicted about custom builds as a service, because that's how I started, actually. When I was in high school, I started selling computers to people, custom building them, gaming machines specifically. And when I was actually running a repair shop, I continued to offer the same service. And I think from my perspective, it's just not worth it for me or the consumer, because they can, for me, it's, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lot of work, but it definitely requires 100% of your attention to build a computer. And then also there's some complications with it, like you have to wait for stuff to arrive in the mail, and you also have to, sometimes the parts just don't work, and then you have to deal with warranty stuff. And in my opinion, it was only worth it if I could charge like more than $300, because it just wasn't, you have to do the consultation with the client and tell them what they want and everything. And at the end of the day, they can go get a computer from Dell or Alienware, or well, same thing, but Dell or one of those other gaming rig companies, and they can pay less. And so, well, I mean, at the same time, you're providing a consultation to them, so they're getting exactly what they want. But is there really a difference between a really good gaming machine and a slightly better really good gaming machine? Not really.
Yes, there is. Because there's the difference between the gaming machine that breaks down because it was manufactured online, and the gaming machine that I built 3 years ago and didn't hear from the customer until they said, "Hey, I'm saving up for a new one next year."
Well, I agree with that, but there's certain brands that make custom rigs that are perfectly fine, and they don't use horrible off-brand video cards and memory, and they use quality stuff. It's the same stuff that I would pick. So, I mean, I'm not saying in every circumstance. It's obviously safer to go and pick the good brands, right? And do that if you have that knowledge. But I guess my point is that there are other ways to do it, and so I would rather do a virus removal and be able to repair 10 computers at the same time than do a custom rig and only get a little bit more money and have more of a, I guess it's more of a responsibility and obligation.
Yeah, because I mean, you are on the hook for the warranty. I'll be honest with you though. Out of the systems that I've built over the years, I rarely ever have a problem with anything going bad. I mean, every once in a while, after a few years, you might get a power supply that goes out or something like that. But it's not like all the time I would have these problems, right? So I think a lot of times too is, I'll be honest, from my standpoint, I absolutely love building new machines. And reinstalling the operating system, configuring them. But yeah, from a price standpoint, it is hard to justify, sometimes the amount of time you put in. It's kind of, I say if it's something you really enjoy doing and you can make money at it, absolutely do it. It's something where you're really trying to, have a certain amount of time and get paid a certain amount of money, and it's not working out because of just doing custom builds. And quite honestly, I don't think you can just do, I think Chris has said this, I don't think you can just do one thing.
No.
I think you have to do a bunch of different things in order to have that revenue constantly coming in.
Yeah, and I mean, building custom systems is definitely not something that we do regularly. Like, we have repeat customers, right? So, back in August, we built one, and it was actually, I have it here. It was about $1,100 plus tax. And then the next one we built was in January, and it was $1,800 plus tax. right? And we do a 10 to a 15% markup on each part plus labor, and we charge a flat rate of $200 to do the build. So it's not like we're not making money off of it. But what we're really gaining from that is that both of those computers, by the way, it was a couple, and they replaced theirs every 4 years, 6 months apart.
Oh, nice.
So those two, I get referral business from them, not for custom system builds, but virus removals or tune-ups, or we're going to get business from that because we did a great job. We built those systems, and the closest thing that we've ever come to having to do anything warranty related was a panicked phone call. My computer won't turn on. Oh wait, it's a system update. Same thing with it wasn't a gaming system, but I got a request for a custom system from a guy who he does some sort of online trading. I don't know everything about what he was doing, but it involved a lot of video card processing, a lot of GPU. So we did a custom build for him, and that was 3 years ago. The only thing that I've heard from him was every once in a while he sends me an email that says, hey, just want to let you know the computer's still running fantastic. Right? So, and the same thing, though, is that we'll have somebody come in and say, hey, I got a virus on my computer. Can you take care of that? Oh, hey, by the way, I heard about you from this guy. So it's not so much that I'm making a lot of money off of those builds, but I'm building brand loyalty with those clients who are bringing more clients into us. And I think if we were advertising very heavily for a local business, that would make a huge difference in our business model.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's definitely many ways to there's many ways to do business, and I think you just have to find out what it is that you like to do, and go ahead and stick with those things, because I think everybody in their business has a niche, and if you can find whatever that niche is, and you can get paid for doing something you enjoy, then I say kudos to you, because that just makes a lot of sense to me. I would rather be doing something I enjoy versus something. If you don't want to configure servers, don't worry about configuring servers. If you don't want to worry about fixing whatever QuickBooks, you can hire a guy like Chris to help with that. So you don't need to know everything. So
yeah. Well, and I very much don't know everything, right? And that that's why I have a Brad. I mean, anybody who saw my last newsletter that went out, he taught me something about jumping a power supply to see if it'll turn on.
Yeah.
I had no idea how to do that. I've never needed to. Right, so you got to find people who have skills that complement yours to be able to succeed.
And I like your last newsletter that went out. It was always be learning, and that
always be learning. Yeah,
that was good.
I think that might be a recurring theme. Every time I learn something new, I'm going to send out a newsletter.
Oh my gosh, that was good. All right, so we'll move on from there. And the third email is, and I just got this today. It says, "Hi there, Jeff. I hope that you're doing good today, night, whatever. On Podnutz show number 122, you have talked about segmenting your network from a client on your home network. I've talked to some people, and they do not seem to understand on what I'm trying to do. I am trying to get my home network away from my client's computer, so I cannot get the jump the network bug, as you have said in the show, on my main system and other systems. I would really appreciate some help on that when you do this, or when you do this summer, 2015. Keep up the good work. I've been listening to you and others since November 2014. I found you all thanks to the Mike Tech Show, which I found him in August of 2014. Robert Eiler, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Well, thank you, Robert. Appreciate the email. And yeah, I know we talked about it a little bit about basically separating your network.
Yeah.
Your home net. If you're working on your home, or even on an office, obviously you have business computers that you're using, right? And because of those business computers, you don't want them necessarily being on the same network as the client machines that you're cleaning. So we were asking what's the best way to basically separate those networks so that you can't get, even though I haven't seen one in a long time, a virus that basically jumps the network from machine to machine.
Yeah, and you're hitting it dead on too. With doesn't matter if it's home or business, you want to do the same thing. We have a network closet here, and we have Ethernet jacks in the walls in my office out in the front and the tech room. And what we've done is we've segmented one of the ports on the main router to go to a network jack in the back of the tech room. and we'll be hooking up a switch to that. And that one port is going to be completely separate from the rest of the network. Still have internet connection, but not no connection to the rest of the office. And that's to protect the customer and to protect us.
Now, did you say you were doing that via the router?
Yeah, so we have the main router in the network closet, and then it splits off into all the jacks in the walls. So we're just configuring the one port to be on a separate network.
Now, what type of router are you using for that you can manage the ports?
It is the Rogers one.
Okay, so their route now that's a business class, correct?
That is it's a business class modem router combination, which is the only combo modems that I ever recommend to anybody because the residential ones are garbage. But it's all managed by them. So as much as I'd love to be able to just log in and make those types of changes, I call them up on the 24-hour line and they make them for us.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Didn't want that, but try telling that to a big cable company.
All right, so moving on, we have this is from the owner of Podnutz, and this is from Door to Door Geek, aka Stephen McLaughlin, and he says, "Hey Jeff, I'm a Linux guy, so I'm not in the antivirus stuff per se, or whatever, but this caught my eye, and it was an article from PC World, and it's on a Bitdefender security appliance for home networks. Now, this can be it's a box that you could basically put in between the router and your network, or it's a box that will act as a router in a wireless, a wireless adapter, and it will run your Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff too. They said the specs on the router portion of it are not all that great, and the box is like $199 a year, and it's $99 a year after that to renew the Bitdefender license for that device, which I would imagine has updates and different things like that. So have you guys ever seen anything like that that anybody's talking about in the market?
I know there's hardware that you can attach to your network that's dedicated for malware scanning and stuff. I think OpSWAT has something like that, but nothing that I haven't seen anything like that for a home use.
Okay.
What does it do?
It's the weird thing is, so as I was reading the article, it says it does some low-level inspection, but it doesn't do deep packet inspection or anything like that. So I'm not sure exactly the benefit of having this, other than you have one device that maybe is stopping certain things from getting through the firewall box, whatever, to the rest of the network. But is there a benefit to that? Versus...
The only thing that I could think of is that a lot of the default settings on routers and modems are horrible and leave a lot of security holes open. So if at the very least it's just negating that is helpful for a consumer, but I don't know why that needs to be made by Bitdefender. I don't know. It's just, what does that really have to do with antivirus stuff or malware? Not very much.
Well, yeah, and Martin Obandos, who's in the chat room, he's basically saying that it's a router, network firewall, intrusion prevention system. And also from what I read from the article was it's supposed to be basically an end consumer can buy this product, put it on their network, and it's simple, basically plug and play. There's not a whole lot they have to do to it. Now, again, like you said, Ian, will it actually help the end consumer versus maybe having an antivirus on that system, or is it just another gateway basically to help stop things from coming into the system? I don't know. Chris, anything?
I hate these hardware type things in residential places because they either don't know how to configure it properly or they think they know how to make it better and screw it up. Or it winds up being like a sonic wall sitting in a church where they're paying way too much money for something that they just frankly don't need. I would prefer to throw an antivirus on the computer.
Now, I will be honest with you. Every church needs a sonic wall or a Barracuda or something.
See, you say that, but but they really don't. I mean, if you have web blocking, and which is completely doable by software.
Sure.
You have web blocking, antivirus, and a firewall. You don't need a sonic wall, and I've walked into there's a church in Alliston that I do work for once in a while, and we're taking care of their backup for them. And we did have them on the managed service plan, but they've moved away from that to save cost, which is completely understandable. And they have a sonic wall in there, and it's caused them nothing but headache. They've had to spend so much money getting people to fix it constantly, and there's no real reason for it to be there. So it's just too much.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if somebody's going to put that in place, that is definitely something that you need managed, and somebody's got to be able to do that. The problem is a lot of times these things are put in, and nobody wants to pay the technicians or the repair shop to basically monitor that, make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Because I've been in a lot of different small businesses that basically, churches and stuff included, that they're using a home router for their router, which is better than nothing as far as a hardware firewall, but they were getting just as many infections with paid-for antivirus on their server. Well, not on the server, but on the workstations.
Right.
And,
well, I guarantee you, though, that the server. Well, okay, you said not the server, but
not the server.
The server shouldn't be able to really browse anyway.
Exactly.
That should be blocked. But what you're describing to me is, how did I just get a phone call? What you're describing to me, though, is that these people don't have web filtering.
Right.
If they had web filtering, it wouldn't be a problem. And I'm not saying that every church has people going on websites that they shouldn't, but that's
it's not just churches.
Yeah.
It's everywhere that people are going on places they shouldn't. And some cannot even be that bad. It's just that, I don't know. It's all these things on the networks, and you can go even to a legitimate site and get a drive-by.
You can. No, you can. I'll give you that. But a good web filtering product will stop that drive-by from happening, because the website that the ad is being hosted on should be blocked, making the assumption that they've been caught before. Same thing with AdBlock Plus, right? You throw AdBlock Plus on there, and that's just one more thing that's going to help them. And that's a free product. So, you can do all of those things without spending the money on a sonic wall. A medium to large business makes perfect sense, absolutely, but a nonprofit, which a church, for all intents and purposes, shouldn't be spending that kind of money on hardware that they don't need.
I will say one thing, though. I just read the article, and it looks like what it does is it scans the packets as they come in and tries to determine what kind of traffic they are based on the header or something like that.
Okay.
And while I can't say anything about this product in particular, I do think that one of the issues that we're having right now in the computer security industry is that it's very hard to protect yourself like you should. And as people, as technicians, we're slightly more educated, at least I would hope, about computer security and like why you should use SSL and why you should not trust SSL anyway because the NSA has their keys, and why you should send encrypted text messages and all these things, right? So it's not just because we're, it's not like we're doing something bad. It's just a matter of, you're being, that people can watch you, and you understand what the vulnerabilities are. And for a normal consumer that doesn't have those same understandings, it is a significant amount of effort to put those things in place. And so anytime somebody can provide a product that can reproduce some of those protective capabilities in a really easy plug-and-play way, I'm always for that, because I think that people should protect themselves better, but they don't because it's hard. So
Right.
Even if this Bitdefender thing isn't perfect, or it's not doing exactly what we would do as technicians, or it's only doing part of it, I still think it's a worthwhile thing to encourage as the industry moves forward. I don't know if it's worth paying $99 a year for or whatever, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, as far as for network protection, as far as $99 a year for, that's not too bad. Most households have what, at least 3, 4, 5 computers in them. I would think. I know mine does. Mine's got way more. So I don't know. If it's something you can put out there that'll help you, I just don't know that if it's just looking at the header message to see what type of whether or not it's spam of some sort or another or bad, it's hard to tell. But that's the same thing with any antivirus. Let's face it. Definitions from antivirus vendors are written so that basically once the viruses are caught, they basically write the definitions for them. But the only way they can catch them on the fly is using heuristics, which, to be honest, in today's day and age is still cruddy. It doesn't work that well.
Well, and it probably always will be. That's the sad part of it.
Slightly different, though. In this case, I don't think they're really trying to get malware. It's more, for example, I'm sure you're aware that the like webcam IP addresses are like public by default, and you can just like go look at people's webcams. I think what this is attempting to do is to, using the header, understand what type of request it is. So, for example, if it is trying to access a public webcam from outside of the network, it would know that and then prevent it.
Right.
So I think it's that kind of thing. I don't think it's even realistic to try to get malware as it's coming through the network unless you have like really expensive hardware.
And you're willing to configure the very expensive hardware also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have people like you guys that are going to do that.
Right, but by the time you're done paying for somebody to monitor all that, though, you could get a GFI monitoring system with the web filtering and everything in there. Probably around the same, maybe a little bit more, but with most places you get more out of it. So I don't see a real need for something like this except for the people who are trying to do it themselves. But when you're trying to do it yourself, it's because you don't know what you're doing, and you really shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So I agree with you on one hand where it's great, it gives our customers something that they can use to protect themselves better. But on the other hand, it's not even a money thing. I don't care if 10 people buy that because they wouldn't come to my shop anyway. Right? But those 10 people think that they're more protected than they are, and they're going to wind up getting themselves into a huge hole.
Yeah, I guess I was looking at it from outside of the repair shop perspective, in the sense that I'm always for things that enable people to be more secure in their daily lives very easily. So I don't think it's something that you'd resell as a shop. You're right. GFI or something like that is just way more cost effective, probably better in terms of functionality, far more configurable, and it's just already something you're reselling. So I don't think a shop would resell this.
Well, even beyond the reselling, though, no, I wouldn't resell something like that. But even for the customer buying it online and it gets shipped and they plug it in, and now they think, okay, great, I'm in an impenetrable fortress now. I can do whatever I want, and then they're going to go online and they're going to click on everything because, I'm okay, and it's going to blow up in their face, right? And then what winds up happening is they come to people like us and they're like, I don't understand what happened because I bought this thing, and all we're going to be able to tell them is, sorry, dude, this isn't, you're not bulletproof, So it's hard because when these things get marketed to customers, that's what winds up getting drilled into their head is if you put this on your network, you're safe. And you're not safe. You're safer. You're more secure.
Right.
But someone else always has the key to that door.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yep.
True.
Hey, we're going to take a break. I just noticed we're a little long in time here. Before I got to a couple things that I needed to. Anyways, I just wanted to re-mention we have a contest going on the network, and we're giving away a D7-2 one-year subscription with DMZ standard access. You can either get a single technician license or a 2 to 5 technician license. It has the DMZ standard level access, includes all video training resources, 1 hour of tech-to-tech support, phone or remote, and an included webinar seat in any training webinar of your choice. Nick is also throwing in a 15% off every year renewal to sweeten the deal. Here's how the contest works. Just send an email to podnutz@podnutz.com with the subject line D72 giveaway. In the body of the message, have your full name and contact email, and you can put the name of your computer business. We will do the drawing on April 12th of 2015. So I just want to put that out there. So we've got a lot of people who've sent in their emails so far. I think we've got over 33 people. So, keep them coming. And you have a chance to win a D72 one-year subscription.
I sent like 10 emails to Jeff. He deleted them all. I know it.
Anything with Chris in it is just gone. Yeah, if you're Chris, don't. Yeah, no. Well, one of the subjects, and maybe this will be a little shorter subject that I wanted to talk about now that we've gotten through all the emails, is basically what is your guys' perspective on, when we talk about presenting ourselves to our customers, especially when, a lot of times what you can get away with a residential customer versus going into a business. Is it important to have, shirts with your logo on it? Is it important to have, instead of wearing a pair of jeans, you wear a pair of slacks, or a decent pair of dress shoes instead of tennis shoes? Are these things important, especially when you're going to, or other businesses and selling yourself? You're selling you as a computer business, a computer repair shop, whatever. How important is that to you guys?
Which one to you first?
I mean, like the way that you dress and you hold yourself, basically, right?
Well, I get dressed every morning, Chris. What does that mean?
I wear pants when I have to be on camera.
I don't, because my lower half's underneath the desk.
Yeah, but the last time I got up, no. So, I think that I was answering somebody's question in the chat too, so I caught most of this. So we want to know whether or not the way that you dress and the way that you are your appearance is important, right?
Well, is it important, or is it even important? Because a lot of people, I'm sure, are thinking out there, they're going, well, there's a small business down the street. I want to go and talk to them, and in their heads, they're probably thinking, well, I probably should have a shirt, a nice, dress shirt or polo shirt with my logo on it, to present myself. Well, do I need to do that, or can I just go in there in a nice blank polo shirt and a nice pair of jeans, or even a decent pair of slacks or whatever,
Yeah.
and some dress shoes, that type of thing? Is there anything that's going to sell to the business owner more than, one more than the other?
So here's my view on that.
I knew you had one.
What
That's why I'm
business?
asking the question.
What business are you walking into? I'm not expecting you to answer it, but I'm saying, what business are you walking into?
Right.
Right? If you're walking into a coffee shop, you could probably walk in there in a nice pair of jeans and a t-shirt that doesn't have a stain on it, and that's good enough. If you're walking into an auto shop, if you're going in there with a nice pair of slacks and a polo shirt, with or without a logo, the logo doesn't make a difference on that, on the professionalism. That's just your branding. You should be fine with that. If you're walking into a law firm, you're probably going to want to wear a buttoned-up collared shirt with a nice pair of pants and a belt. Suit and tie is never really needed unless you're going to the CEO of a major company. We're talking small businesses.
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to dress yourself according to the business that you're going to. And what I've done in the past is back when this was a huge thing for me, I'd be a customer first, and the way that I would pitch myself is I'm there as a customer. So I now have a pretty good idea of what's going on, who's who in the office, and I'll come back. I'll mention them, yeah, you know what, I do computers. I'm obviously not prepared right now to talk to you business, but why don't I come back next week? Right? And I'll set up a day, and then I would go back, and I would dress myself according to the business. The auto body shop, that's exactly what I did. I put on some slacks, I put on a nice polo shirt, and that's how I showed up. Coffee shops, I wear jeans, right? Because they need to be comfortable with the way that you're dressed and the way that you're holding yourself. And if you show up in a shirt and tie to a coffee shop to talk to, the proprietor of a probably just running it themselves, it's a little intimidating. So, dress yourself the way that they would be comfortable with, or the way that you would see them being comfortable with. Otherwise, it's either you're going to be overdressed or underdressed, and they're just not going to get your pitch.
I completely agree with Chris. The answer to most things is it depends. So I think it depends what the business is, for example. Moving a step beyond that is the branding aspect of it. Do you need a logo or whatever? Do you need memorabilia you give out or something like that? And I think as far as that goes, you need to understand what you want your brand to be. It's really about your business and how you want it to grow and how you want people to perceive you. So if you want to be, these guys are really cool and I love talking to them, they're very approachable, and that's why I go to them over somebody else like Geek Squad that is not personable. Then maybe you don't need the logo and you just want to be a more relaxed feel. But if you want to be the go-to for all businesses and you want some kind of brand recognition, then yeah, you probably do want to have logos. You probably want to wear the same color shirt every time you go in, and you probably want to be recognizable for how you look. That's why Geek Squad has cars that look that way, because then you see Geek Squad cars around and you know that that's from Best Buy. So it really just depends what you want your business to be about and how you get there. So yeah, I mean, if you're in a small town, you probably don't need that, right? But if you're in a large town where you have a lot of competition, you need something that that is the differentiator.
Yeah, and actually, John brought that up in the chat where, you know, when you're in a rural area, it's completely different. I grew up in a rural area. I didn't run a business in a rural area, but I'm pretty convinced that if I went anywhere and I wasn't wearing jeans and a t-shirt, I would be some guy from the city. So that's something to keep in mind too. It does depend on where you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. No, it sounds good. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things I've thought about lately is that when I think about my business, I think about branding, and I think about what type of brand do I want to have? Do I want to have things that are on my vehicle as I drive around to, you know, let other people know about me, or even like I think Martin Obando said in the chat that he dresses for work even though he works out of his home, because I mean obviously he's on the road a lot and stuff like that too, but it kind of puts you in a mindset versus hey, I get up, I'm in my pajamas, I can go in and remote into some computers, and that's fine, but sometimes also the way that you feel about yourself when you're going out there and talking to other customers is going to be a reflection of how you want to dress or how you want other people to perceive you. So yeah, I definitely think there's some good things to that. But I even thought with the logos and stuff like that of if I wear my logo everywhere I go, is my brand going to start to be recognized? Kind of like you said, Ian, you've got the if you go to Best Buy, you've got the Geek Squad, right? They've got the Beatles, the Bugs, and they drive around in those, and everybody knows it's the orange and black is the the Geek Squad logo. And of course, it's kind of weird because I think they wear blue shirts on the inside, but whatever. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been there. So
yeah, and you got to watch what you're doing too with that. Like, well, Jeff, you're on my Facebook, so you probably saw it. We took a picture of somebody that was driving like a maniac, and they had their business information in the back window. Right, so yeah, you want your brand to be recognized, but at the same time, there's certain events that you don't want to have your branding on with you. Don't go to the bar wearing the polo shirt from work. Is a really good example. Unless you're there to do work, you should not be wearing your logo when you go drinking. You shouldn't be drinking while you work, but we're Canadian, so it doesn't matter.
You're just happy all the time. Whatever.
This is ginger ale, but it's true. If you overbrand, people are not going to see your brand as trustworthy. They're not going to see that because they think, oh, you're just a big company, or you're just that guy that blew through that red light. So keep that in mind when you're deciding on whether or not to put a logo on your shirt. We don't have logos on ours. We might down the road. It's very possible, but it's not something that's required because we're here. We're not going on site. We're not doing work outside of the office. We're here. So there's no real reason to do that.
Agreed. There's definitely a certain amount of responsibility that you have to take on yourself when you are attached to your brand. I mean, that's definitely true. So if that's not if you're not trying to grow at a certain point, you kind of have to increase the professionalism if you're going to be outside, right? So like at a certain point, like when you have 15 technicians or something, it kind of makes sense to just have logos. but as long as those people are on site. Obviously, look, if you have people in-house the whole time, who cares? Nobody's ever going to see you. It doesn't really make a difference. But at a certain point, you kind of like need to figure out exactly what you want your brand to be, and it is worth taking into account that you kind of have to change the things that are acceptable. You can't go to a bar and wear your company shirt. So if that's something that's concerning to you, if you go straight from being on site to the bar every day, then you probably don't want your logo on your shirt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And when you get to be my age, it's one of those things. I drive a lot slower. I don't weave in and out of traffic anymore. So I look at these things, but
I don't leave. I've become a safer driver because I don't want people calling in complaining.
That's right. So yeah, they're definitely. But I have thought about that as I'm driving. If you cut somebody off, even if it was unintentional, you can't be blowing them out of the water. Hey, it's like you just go, whoops, hey, sorry. We're gonna move on from here, So, no, these are all valid points, and yeah, I just, I think it really depends on. I think when you start off, you can start off just, don't be wearing ripped jeans, don't be wearing ratty T-shirts that you just got, out from under your car, with oil stains and grease stains on them. Just wear the nicest clothes that you have.
Yeah. Well,
besides a suit.
And again, though, right? Dependent on the customer base that you're looking for. Yeah. If you just want to work out of your shop and fix computers, and that's what you want to do, a nice polo shirt or even just a blank T-shirt that's not ripped, not stretched, not miscolored, not stained, right? And jeans, not ripped, not stained, right? If you keep with that, you're going to get the residential customers that you're looking for, and they're not going to care.
Right.
They won't. But if you want the small business market, you're going to need a small wardrobe. You're going to need those polo shirts, the T-shirts, the jeans, the slacks, the dress-ish pants, the nicer shoes that you can shine if you need to. So really, you need to market yourself. You are a walking advertisement for your business, and you need to target that advertisement to the customer base that you want.
Absolutely. I agree. Good stuff.
And thus ends the infomercial.
Yeah. All right. So, any other subjects that need to be covered today that we haven't covered thus far? Anything to add?
Did anybody see my pirate picture?
No, we can't see your pirate picture because it's basically a white wall behind us.
Good. That's all you're going to get.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out on the show today and sharing with us and all the good information. Hopefully this helps you guys out there. Ian, where can people find out more about what you're doing?
They can check out our website at repairtechsolutions.com. Specifically, if you're referring to the new product that we talked about earlier in the show, it's kabuto.repairtechsolutions.com, and that's kabuto.repairtechsolutions.com.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, appreciate it. And Chris, where can people find out what you're up to?
Well, best way to find out what we're up to is to go join our newsletter, which we have a link up for. You can go to our website, www.rstechteam.com, or you can give us a call, 866-568-2813.
Excellent. All right, well, we do Podnutz Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnutz.com/live. We would love it if you guys would watch and join in on the conversation by hanging out in the chat room or calling in live. We have on-demand audio and video always available after the fact over at podnutz.com and my YouTube channel, Podnutz Live Show for Computer Repair Techs. You can find me on the Google Plus at Jeffery Halash or Twitter at TechNutPC. And if you guys are a computer repair tech and would like to be a guest on Podnutz Daily where you can talk about your business, email me at podnutzdaily@podnutz.com. You guys can also email questions and feedback to podnutz@podnutz.com. You guys can leave a voicemail at 1-888-697-0162. And if you guys could do us a favor, leave us a rating and review over on iTunes. You guys can help support the Podnutz Network. The next time you're shopping on Amazon, go to podnutz.com/Amazon. I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast. All right. There is no music, Chris.
There's always music in my head, Jeff. Well,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Good news. We got our first prank caller, so clearly we're getting more popular.
Yeah, well, and there's 9 viewers watching the show, so
Ooh.
yeah, look at that.
So we have 9 people that got to hear the N-word 3 times on our show.
Yeah, so for those that are out there, and I'll probably leave this portion up, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull the video down, and now I'm going to have to go in and I will edit that out and re-put the video back up, and I will be talking to Chris. I have a couple ideas of how we can negate that in the future. It's sad that, you know, it takes one person to have nothing better to do than just to troll, but, you know, I can't even say what I really am thinking, so I will leave it at that.
You know what, and it's I'm trying to figure out something too, and actually I was looking in the I think we're going to have to definitely have that conversation because both of the calls that came in were from unknown numbers, and it sounds like they were just sitting together.
Yeah. And I will say this also. There was other calls that were coming in. I basically shut the phone down just because and it was caller ID missing. One was from Las Vegas, one was from New York. And I do apologize if those were legitimate callers that have computer repair business. I do apologize. But, yeah, we've got to do something. And don't get me wrong, guys. I knew this was risky doing it this way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but I also believe in, sowing and reaping, and whatever you sow, you'll reap. So I actually feel bad for that person and the type of life that they will have. But whatever. That'll be the end of that. But yeah, I'm going to have to pull it down, and now I'm going to have to take time and edit that out.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. So, but yeah, I do have some ideas. Once we end the broadcast, we'll go from there, and I will talk to you, Chris, and I've got an idea, and I think we can make it happen. So, but totally was you. Was not.
John's totally prank calling us. I'm also trying to figure out what part of the and it took a lot of restraint for me to not start asking questions like, why are you calling into the show with technical support questions?
Well, so me being the nice person that I am, I will, I'll pretty much let people come on and talk about what they want to talk about, and but right as soon as that, even the first caller had happened, unfortunately, I was kind of like, okay, should I actually had believe it or not, I had my pointer over the hang up button on both the calls because I was like, as soon as I was like, and I should have known the System 32. I should have known. But
you know what? I wasn't sure.
Well,
because someone who doesn't know anything about computers might have been told to delete their System 32 folder. I mean, when I was younger, when I say younger, I'm talking about 14, sitting in the IRC chat rooms. Yeah, last year. I used to sit in the IRC chat rooms, and if we had a new person come in that started causing problems, we'd send them a whisper that said, your system has experienced an unexpected error. Press Alt F4 to continue.
Right.
So I mean, I don't do that anymore. That's a very mean thing to do, and I don't suggest that anybody does it. But it's just that's the type of people that are out there. So I believed him when he said that someone told him to delete his System 32 folder.
Well, I had just read an article about that actually. About there is a System 32 virus. And that's what people were. I'd seen in a couple of forums that people were talking about. Yeah, just get rid of the System 32 folder. I'm like, what? So I don't know what was going on there, but it's not like it's the first time I've heard of, somebody doing that. I was kind of surprised.
Well, it's the internet. People troll on the internet.
Sure, exactly. So I do apologize to whoever was watching this, especially if you're younger. And but yeah, I'll definitely, before I actually post this, I'll have to pull it down, and now I got to figure out something new, and hopefully it won't take me that long to edit it and put it back up. So, no biggie. But Well, Ian, I definitely appreciate you coming out and sharing with us today, and
Yeah, of course.
hope you liked hanging out. And
Yeah, it's always fun. Anytime.
so, but I'll tell you what, I think what I'm going to do is you guys can stay on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the broadcast, and we will see you guys next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again, and have a great week. Thanks for watching.